Your liver has a hierarchy, a priority list, a system for deciding what matters most. And alcohol jumps straight to the top. The moment it enters your bloodstream, your liver stops doing almost everything else. Fat burning, paused. Nutrient processing, delayed. Hormone regulation, put on hold. Because alcohol is treated like an emergency, not a treat, not a reward. A problem to solve immediately. That's your first clue. You're not having a drink. Your body is handling a toxin and your liver is dropping everything to deal with it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Alcohol doesn't damage your liver directly first. Your liver damages itself, trying to process it. Step 1. Alcohol gets converted into something called acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is not just bad, it's worse than alcohol, more toxic, more reactive. It binds to proteins inside your cells and literally distorts them. It's the biological equivalent of spilling acid on machinery and watching it warp. Your liver creates this substance on purpose because it's the only way to break alcohol down. So every time you drink, your liver generates something more harmful than what you consumed just to survive the process. That's the trade. Now here's something most people have never heard. Your liver can only process roughly one standard drink per hour, not depending on tolerance, not because you're used to it. Chemically, that's the limit. Anything beyond that doesn't get processed faster. It just waits, circulating, affecting your brain, extending exposure, which means binge drinking isn't just more alcohol, it's prolonged toxicity. You're not increasing intensity, you're increasing duration. And duration is where damage compounds. Now let's talk about fat, because this is where people get blindsided. Alcohol tells your liver, stop burning fat completely. At the same time, it increases fat production. So now you have a double effect, more fat being made, less fat being cleared. Where does that fat go? It stays inside liver cells. This is why people who aren't overweight, who don't eat poorly, still develop fatty liver disease. It's not about diet, it's about metabolic priority. And here's the part that hits. Fatty liver can begin forming in as little as a few weeks of regular drinking, not years, weeks, and you will feel absolutely nothing. No pain, no warning, no signal. Because the liver doesn't have pain receptors. It expands, it swells, it fills with fat silently. Now let's go one layer deeper. When your liver is busy processing alcohol, it also produces something called NADH. This molecule shifts your entire metabolic balance. It signals your body, we have more than enough energy, even if you don't. So your body slows down fat breakdown and increases fat storage, which means alcohol doesn't just add calories. It changes how your body handles all calories. That's why drinking can lead to fat gain, even if your diet hasn't changed, not because of willpower, because of chemistry. Now let's talk about something most people completely miss. Alcohol weakens your liver's ability to handle other toxins, medications, pollution, even normal metabolic waste, because all of those rely on the same detox systems. So when you drink regularly, you're not just adding one toxin. You're lowering your capacity to deal with everything else. It's like overloading a filter and then expecting it to still clean water properly. Now the system is compromised, and here's where it starts escalating. Repeated exposure to acetaldehyde and metabolic stress triggers inflammation. Your immune system steps in, but instead of solving the problem, it creates collateral damage. Because inflammation inside the liver doesn't just target toxins, it damages healthy cells too. And over time, those damaged areas get replaced, not with new liver cells, with scar tissue. Now here's the part people really don't know. Scar tissue in the liver doesn't just reduce function, it physically disrupts blood flow. Your liver has a very specific internal structure, designed to let blood pass through slowly, so toxins can be filtered properly. Scar tissue warps that structure, so now blood struggles to move through the liver. Pressure builds. This is called portal hypertension, and it forces blood to reroute into places it was never meant to go, like veins in your esophagus, which can rupture without warning. That's not late-stage alcoholism. That's structural failure. And it started years earlier with normal repeated drinking. Now let's zoom out for a second. The liver is one of the only organs that can regenerate. Up to 70% of it can be damaged, and it can still grow back. That's insane. But regeneration has rules. It only works if the structure is still intact. Once scarring becomes widespread, regeneration stops being effective because now you're not rebuilding tissue, you're rebuilding on a damaged blueprint. That's cirrhosis. And cirrhosis isn't just damage, it's architectural collapse. Even if you stop drinking completely, the liver cannot fully return to normal. And here's the most uncomfortable truth in all of this. You don't feel the transition. There's no moment where your body says, this is the point of no return. You feel fine until suddenly you don't. That's why so many people think, I would know if something was wrong. You wouldn't, because the liver's entire strategy is handle it quietly until it can't. This is why it sucks to be a drinker's liver. Not because of one bad decision, but because of repeated reasonable ones. A drink after work, a weekend pattern, something that never feels serious enough to question. While underneath, your liver is constantly choosing, protect you now or preserve itself long term. And it keeps choosing you until that trade stops working. So if you're going to drink, understand what's actually happening, not socially, biologically, because right now your liver is still absorbing the cost, still adapting, still rebuilding. But the more consistently you push it, the closer you get to a line it will never announce. And once you cross it, there's no dramatic moment, just a system that no longer works the way it used to, and no way to fully undo it.